In the annals of history, few names echo with the sheer force of Alexander the Great. A king, a conqueror, a legend. But behind the myth lies a story of incredible human endeavor. A story of an army that marched over 30,000 kilometers, from the green hills of Macedon to the sun-scorched plains of India. How was this possible? How did one man inspire his soldiers to walk to the very edge of the known world? It began not with a sword, but with a promise. Alexander didn't just command from a gilded throne, he led from the front. He was the first into battle, the last to retreat. He ate what his soldiers ate, slept where they slept, and bled as they bled. At the brutal siege of Tyre, he personally led the charge. Wounded in battle, he would have his injuries treated in full view of his men, turning his own pain into a symbol of their shared struggle. This wasn't just leadership. It was a bond forged in fire and loyalty. His men didn't just follow a king, they followed a brother in arms. But shared hardship alone doesn't conquer continents. Alexander was a master of logistics, a genius of supply and organization that was centuries ahead of his time. Before every major campaign, his team of surveyors, engineers, and quartermasters would meticulously plan the route. They charted rivers, located fresh water sources, and identified foraging grounds. Alexander's army was a mobile city, a perfectly oiled machine. He established a network of new cities along his path of conquest, many named Alexandria. These weren't just monuments to his ego. They were vital supply depots, garrison towns, and communication hubs that secured his ever-lengthening supply lines. This logistical backbone ensured that his army, even deep in hostile territory, was rarely without food, water, or reinforcements. Then there was the irresistible lure of wealth. Alexander understood human nature. The riches of the Persian Empire were legendary, and he promised his men a share of the spoils. After the decisive Battle of Gaugamela, the treasures of Babylon, Susa, and Persepolis were laid at their feet. We're talking about mountains of gold, silver, and precious jewels beyond their wildest dreams. Each victory brought unimaginable wealth, turning ordinary farmers and shepherds into rich men. This system of reward was a powerful motivator. Every grueling step, every dusty mile, brought them closer not just to victory, but to a life of fortune they could never have imagined back home. It was a tangible dream, paid in gold. Alexander also knew that an army's spirit was as important as its supplies. He was a master of morale. He organized athletic games, festivals, and competitions, complete with lavish prizes, to keep spirits high during lulls in the campaign. He honored his fallen soldiers with magnificent funerals and ensured their families were well cared for. He would often walk through the camps, calling soldiers by name, asking about their families, and listening to their concerns. He remembered the names of thousands of his men, making each one feel seen and valued. This personal touch, this genuine care, cultivated a fierce devotion that transcended mere duty. But perhaps his most revolutionary idea was the fusion of cultures. As he pushed further east, Alexander didn't just conquer, he assimilated. He adopted elements of Persian dress and court customs, much to the dismay of some of his conservative Macedonian veterans. He encouraged his soldiers to marry local women, even organizing a mass wedding at Susa, where he and his top commanders took Persian brides. His vision was not one of subjugation, but of a new, blended Hellenistic world. This policy helped to pacify conquered lands, turning potential enemies into allies and making the long march through foreign territories far more secure. His soldiers weren't just occupiers, they were becoming citizens of a new global empire. Of course, the journey was not without its breaking points. After years of relentless campaigning, Upon reaching the Hyphasis River in India, his army finally refused to go further. They were exhausted, homesick, and terrified of the unknown lands that lay ahead. Even Alexander, for all his charisma and authority, could not persuade them. In a rare display of vulnerability, he secluded himself in his tent for 3 days before finally, reluctantly, agreeing to turn back. This moment is crucial. It shows that even the greatest army in the world was still composed of mortal men, with limits to their endurance. Their long march home, especially through the treacherous Gedrosian desert, would prove to be one of their deadliest challenges, costing thousands of lives. So, how did Alexander make his soldiers march 30,000 kilometers? It was a complex alchemy of visionary leadership, logistical brilliance, and psychological genius. He led by example, paid in gold, nurtured their spirits, and offered them a stake in a groundbreaking new world. He wasn't just a general. He was an architect of empire, a master of men's hearts and minds. The story of his army's epic march is more than a military campaign. It's a timeless testament to the incredible limits of human endurance and the power of a singular vision to move the world. Thank you for joining us on this journey back in time. If you found this story as fascinating as we do, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more epic histories. We'll see you in the next one.